Hey folks, Micah McGee here. Today we're going to study ice aging deer meat. There's a lot of people like to ice age and there's a lot of people like to dry age and hardly ever do the two cross. Almost you never find anybody that does it both ways. I do like to do it both ways because I see advantages both ways. But I would have to say my favorite is ice aging, and I'll tell you why as we go through this process. So let's get to work cleaning this deer up and we'll get this deer on ice. All right, folks, the first step in the process, obviously you got to field dress it. Here in Tennessee, you got to check your deer in, and once you get that process completed, skin your deer. I can't show you in detail how to skin a deer because YouTube does not allow me to show anything with blood. As soon as it gets a drop of blood on it, they make it age restricted and it just ruins my video. So I have to show you this as gently as possible so that YouTube don't throw it in the trash for me. So once you get the hide off, you're just gonna cut it up. And what I do is I put my warm meat in a huge amount or a large box of cold water. I usually use a big ice chest and I have it full of cold water so that the initial step is to cool that meat off before you start the ice aging, because if you put the ice on the warm meat, unless you're just making your own ice for free, it gets a little costly. So you want your meat to be pre-cooled before it goes in the cooler. All right, the meat has been in the water for I'd say about 5 hours, cold water, and that has brought the temperature of the meat down. One of the biggest fallacies I see in wet aging is that you don't want the meat set in water. If you don't like meat sitting in water, you may as well dry age your meat. A lot of people take the ice and put the meat on top of the ice, maybe with a layer of plastic in between because they're scared to death. Matter of fact, I just got a comment on my last wet aging video I put out about a year ago and said they're having problems with the meat changing colors and stuff, and I just couldn't wrap my mind around why would the meat change colors. And then come to find out they're keeping the meat dry in the ice somehow by keeping it elevated or something. Air is not your friend in wet aging. It's not a problem if the meat gets wet. I put out a video disproving the waterlogged myth. I'll put that video at the head of the comments and you can watch that. I did a test and soaked meat in water, cut meat, soaked it in water. It don't waterlog. Meat is primarily water anyway. Human beings are like, I don't know what, 80% water. Just all, basically animals and humans are water when it comes right down to it. So you're not like mixing oil and water or something like that. We get this ice in the nearest town. They have a good deal on loose ice. For $2.50, you can get 20 pounds of loose ice, and that is a deal. We always go up there and get ice when we need it, and it works out great. We use it on fish when we catch fish. We also use it on deer. We also use it on waterfowl. The only thing that would beat it is if you could make your own ice, if you had an ice machine or something. All right, when I start an ice chest from scratch, I take my ice and I layer inch and a half of ice at the bottom. The bottom is really not the biggest issue, but you definitely want to have a layer of ice. All right, next you're going to put a layer of meat. This dude had a massive neck. All right, there's the 3 biggest chunks of meat right there. Then we'll put another layer of ice. All right, time for another layer of meat. Deer ribs are really good. Last piece going in. All right, as you know, common knowledge, cold travels down. So I put the majority of my ice on top. And also the cold goes down, but also as it melts, the water will trickle down through the meat and pull out a bunch of... The blood is where the wild taste is. That's going to be pulling that out. So you put all this ice, there's 40 pounds I'm fixing to put on top of this deer, and that's going to seal over, kind of crust over, and it's going to stay cold. And the temperature hopefully will drop a little and help us, but if not, no problem, we'll just go get more ice. And in a week to 10 days, we'll be cutting this up anyway, so it's no big deal. So guys, I know you hear a bunch of things to the contrary of what I'm telling you, but I have been doing this for years and it works to perfection. Never had a problem, no problems. The only time you have a problem is if you let the ice run out and you don't replace it and you don't put the meat away. And so that's the only issue you can have. As long as you got it covered in ice, it won't go wrong. It will not go wrong. Pork, deer, beef, etc. Anything you want to ice age will be fine, just like this. I hope that you will try it, because if you try it, you'll be hooked. When you get this deer out of this ice in 10 days, 2 weeks even, when you get it out of that ice, you can't tell the difference from when you freshly cut it out of that deer. There is no hardening or waste or deterioration or nothing. It's just like when you put it in. It comes out just like that, except it's tender and aged. So, hope you love it. Hope you try. If you try this, I guarantee you, you'll love it. That's all I've got for you today. How to ice age deer meat and any other kind of meat. We're going to get on out of here. I hope you have a great day, but we'll see you on the next video.